And welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and I am joined tonight by a guest who I had the distinct honor and pleasure of meeting at a Paracon of all places. And we just somehow just connected. So I'm so blessed and grateful to have him on the show. So without further ado, I give you the one, the only, the amazing, super talented, awesome actor, John Ozuna.
Hey guys, how are you doing, my friend? It's so good to see you again. It feels like it's been forever.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know what? I love your intro. that's
Thank
that's
you. My
that's a hell of an intro for a show. Great
yeah,
stuff.
my cousin put it together, and I just
Nice.
told him, "Here's my idea," and he came back with that. I was like, "Man,
That's
blew
good
my
stuff.
mind too."
It's good stuff. We have to live up to that now. The
I
pressure's
know.
on.
So, for those who may not fully recognize you, can you give a little bit of your background for the guests?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. You know, my name is John Ozuna. I am an actor. I'm a master martial artist. I'm a fight choreographer. I'm a stuntman. I'm a film producer as well. So, I've been in both of those life pursuits for a good majority of my life. In terms of martial arts, I've been a martial artist for the last 43 plus years. So it's been a
Wow.
lifelong journey for me, and it's my passion in regards to what inspired me back in the day. Bruce Lee. Back in the day for me, it was Bruce Lee. He was the man, and he was the person that every person wanted to be. But along with that I always had this uh, desire to be a performer, an entertainer, um, to act, to be dramatic, to be all those things, and finally was able to combine those two skill sets together. So it's been wonderful. I've had the great privilege of working on some great films with some really amazing actors. Just a few of them are Matrix 4 with Keanu Reeves, Venom 1, Venom 2 with Tom Hardy, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Those are some of the bigger films I've been in. I've had lead roles of my own films. I think one of them is going to be very relative to anything that's paranormal. And that was a movie I did. It was called Demon Fighter, which I played a priest that exorcised demons from people. So it's been a good career so far.
That's really cool. And I'm kind of curious when it comes to a role, are you the type of actor who says, okay, I'm going to go immerse myself in the lifestyle that this person would be? Or are you the type of actor that says, you know what? Let's see how the other actors are. Let's play off of them, and I can build my character that way.
Yeah, a little bit of both, quite honestly, because the education I have for acting is the Stanislavski method acting, which people like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, and those are the ones that are educated in that particular style of acting. Now, that acting, what they do is they really take the time to find out every aspect of that character. Who is this person? Where are they from? When were they born? What foods do they like? What is their everyday like? When do they use the restroom? I mean, they get down to the last little detail. How has life impacted them? What experiences have they had in their life to create the person? And then you bring that person into the scene, and how a person like that with those life experiences would respond to a given scenario. So like you said, a little bit of both, because you get a script, and my typical process is I'll read a script from cover to cover, um, 3 times in a row, and allow myself maybe a couple days to do that. And then I focus on the scenes that I'm in. Then I focus on my specific dialogue, and then I'll rewrite some of the stuff. Because by then I'll get to know my character in such a way that I would say, you know what, my character probably wouldn't say this, or he wouldn't say it this way. He might say it this other way. And you clear it with the director, make sure the director's okay with it. You talk with the other actors to see if they're also feeling the same sort of vibe, and then you go with it, and you do it a couple times, and then you finally get the one that they want.
That's really cool. And I know from my own experience being in theater from elementary school through freshman in college. I mean, never really
Wow.
screen, but doing a little bit here and there with the school, in classes. I always feel like the actors put a little bit of themselves
Yeah.
and their life
Yeah.
into the roles. So
Yeah.
how do you do that with your roles?
It's that's absolutely right, because you draw from your life experiences. So to give you a good example, there's a movie that I did called Demon Fighter, and so with that specific film, there was one scene where I was performing an exorcism on this teenage boy that was possessed by a demon, and so I'm going through the prayers, I'm going through the rituals, I'm going through, I'm commanding that the demon, leave this child now. You're there, and you do it with a lot of passion, and then you recite prayers, and I'm losing him. I'm losing this child. I'm not able to muster up what I need as an exorcist to drive this demon away. This demon is much stronger than I thought possible. So it's a battle back and forth, and my own personal experience was my best friend in the world when I was a teenager was killed in an accident, and I recalled, that the day that I had to say goodbye to him, he was slipping from this world and moving to the next world, and I was losing him. And all those emotions of losing my best friend just came into the scene. Here I am, and I'm fighting so hard, and I'm wishing and praying, come back, no, stay here. And he's slipping through my fingers, and all of those emotions were actually very genuine emotions, and it just all came back. And it wasn't one of those things that I planned. It just happened. And I didn't realize that would occur until I was in the middle of the scene. So we're in the middle of this take, and all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed with this emotion, which I'm actually trying to fight. I'm trying to fight the emotion. How are we doing? So that was, you draw from your life experiences. Everybody here has experienced loss. Everybody here has experienced times in their lives where they've been defeated, where they've been belittled, where they've been told that they're not enough, and on the flip side, we've been told that you're the best, you're the greatest. Look, you did it, you made it work, your hard work paid off. So on the other end, you've experienced that as well, and then everything in between. So you just reflect on things that you've already experienced, and it just comes out.
So I'm kind of curious, with your acting career, do you feel the martial arts part of your life kept you more grounded and not getting caught up in the fame and all the negative side effects of the fame?
You know what? It's yes, 100%. Because having been in martial arts as long as I have, and I've been an actor for, my goodness, at least a few decades now. So I've been in the acting industry for quite some time. But when you're a martial artist, it is a journey of self-discovery. And in that journey, you find out things that you do well, and you find out things that you suck at, that you're terrible at. and you come to terms with it, and you're almost looking at your own image and looking at yourself and saying, okay, we discovered something about yourself that you've been trying to ignore all your life, but now it's right in front of you. What are you going to do about it? And so it lends to humility. It lends to showing a sense of modesty because you're humbled by life. And what happens is, you just learn to appreciate people. You respect people, and you appreciate every person that walks on this planet. Every person is just as important as any other person next to you. There's no one person that's more, um, you know, however anybody wants to categorize it, better, more beautiful, da 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 da, all these things, than another. You know, beauty is from within and radiates, and I think every person in the world is beautiful. But the one thing I can't understand is when certain actors or celebrities they go, you know what? No, 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 no. I'm not going to sign an autograph. No, 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 no. I don't want a selfie. I don't want a selfie. No, where they put their hands up and they create this barrier between themselves and the people that are keeping them relevant. You see, anybody says, "Hey, I caught your movie and I really enjoyed it, this, that, and the other." My response to that is, "Thank you, thank you for taking the time to out of your day to check it out. Thank you for doing that, because if it wasn't for you, I really wouldn't be in this industry." And I think more people need to realize that it's never a solo journey. I mean, the only reason I'm here is because I received a lot of education and opportunities, and there was luck that was involved, a lot of hard work, and a lot of good people around me too. So if it wasn't for all those situations, I wouldn't have these opportunities.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel the same way with the show. And a lot of times I'll randomly say, to the audience, thank you for watching, because
Yeah,
you, I don't have a show.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And I'm so proud of you because when you and I connected at FearFest, right away, buddy, right away, I said, you know what, there's a gentleman right there that I can see being a good friend of mine. He's you're very well versed in your area of expertise, but you approach it in a very kind, humble way, and not many people do that. And I compliment you on being that way.
Well, thank you. And one of the things I mentioned when promoting this was I said when we met and you asked me to do a demonstration,
Oh,
I
that's
could
right.
see in your eyes, I totally blew you away. And I was like, really? I just stunned and shocked an actor. And that moment, I remember even you were like, after it was over, came over and you were like, had your hand on my shoulder and was like, how did you do that? And I was
That
like,
was
really?
great.
You're
I
the
loved it.
actor and you're asking me how I did this?
For people that don't know, because I've held two Guinness World Records. One is for the most punches in 1 minute, and it was 713 punches in a minute. And the other was for the fastest punch in the world. So a lot of times what people will do, they'll say, "Hey, can you give us a quick demonstration on your fast hands?" And I grabbed you. I said, "Hey, Michael, could you just stay right there? Just stay right there. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff to you, and just don't move, don't move." And you didn't even blink. It was like it was nothing to you. And I was going, "Whoa," because other people that are not used to that, they're just constantly just wincing, and which is understandable.
Yeah.
But you're a rock. You were a rock, and I was going, "Whoa, that's great."
Well, and
15.
yeah, and to put another layer on it too is when you said, "Can I borrow you for a demonstration?" You didn't even say what the demonstration was. I was
Exactly
just like,
was. And you didn't
"Okay."
say no. You didn't say, okay, wait a minute, what are you going to do to me? You just said, okay, I'll do it.
So yeah, I had no idea what was coming, and I remember seeing you smile when I answered. How did I do that? I said, I trusted you. I knew whatever you were going to do, you weren't going to hurt me. So
Yeah.
there was nothing to be afraid of. And it was like, yeah. And I feel like kind of in that moment,
Yeah.
you and I were both like, okay, yeah, this is a true friendship that's going to go.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. That cemented the bond right there. That did. That cemented the bond. Hey.
And I mean, yeah. And I will say, as actors go, I have met a fair share, and some of them are, like you say, like one example is I met a gentleman in New York when I was there, and I said to my friend, "Hey, I got to go say hi to this person because he's a really cool actor, but I don't remember his name. But I'll be honest, because I feel like actors will respect that."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I walked up to him and I said, "I'm really sorry I don't remember your name, but I loved you in these movies." And
Mhm.
his answer made me actually step back because he goes, "Well, that's okay. My name's not worth knowing." And I was like, "Really? That was your response?" And I was like,
Wow.
"Well, okay. I guess, you get tired of people asking you or approaching you.
Yeah.
So, okay, whatever." But I was like, it just kind of was like, set the bar for me of going, yeah, don't approach these people.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you
I'm
and
sorry.
you were like, hey, come here. And I was like, wait, you like broke that mold.
And I appreciate that. I really do because it's for me. It's an honor to be on your show. It's an honor to be asked to do other things, and just I always take it as, oh my goodness, I'm humbled by the gesture, and because probably the most important commodity that we all have is our time, and that's why when somebody blocks out a part of their day to interact like we're interacting today, I mean, that's special to me. To me, that means a lot. And if somebody's going to watch a film that I've done or whatever else I've done, well, that means a lot to me. And I again to your point, I have been at events where um, I'm there with other actors and other peers, and what we generally do is a lot of times when we get the opportunity, we'll kind of group together and we'll take a picture with one another and stuff like that. And I approached one gentleman. Yeah, I hate to knock him down, but I'll mention his name. Um, Michael J. White. Michael J. White is he's a martial artist. He's been in several movies. He's been in several big movies. But Michael J. White's been in the business for a while. He and I are pretty much the same. We're action actors, and and we just happen to be at the same event. We've been in several other events together. We know one another, and we were within proximity, so we're pretty close. I say, "Hey, Michael, can we get a quick picture together?" And he goes, "No, man." He goes, "If I take a picture with you, that means I got to take a picture with everybody, son. No." And I'm going, "Whoa, buddy." I said, I'm thinking to myself, "Hey, I'm not your fan. This is a peer thing. Hey, we're at the
Yeah,
same place at the same time. Hey, why not?" So, and that says a lot to me because, everybody has to approach this in their way, and they're providing me examples with what not to do, what not to say. I wouldn't do that. I mean, anybody that would want a picture or autograph, something like that, that's it. That's the least that we can do to show our appreciation. It's the least we can do.
right. And the one thing too is I remember is when we would be talking behind your table
Mhm.
and somebody would walk up, you would just politely like just hold up your hand and be like, "Hey, can you give me a second?" I'm like, "Yeah,"
Mhm.
because you had to go, talk to
Yeah,
people at the table, and I understood that. But it was like the way we were doing it was like, yeah. And if you were talking and somebody was coming, I'd say, "Oh, you got someone coming," and it was like there was like that respect
yeah,
and mutual understanding of, yeah, not taking anything personal. Like, oh my god,
yeah,
you just walked away from me mid sentence.
yeah,
Like, hey, this is an event. It's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's important that um, with any one of us that ever pursues this career, I think a lot of people think that it's glamorous. Um, I can tell you it's not glamorous. It's not, you're not hailed with a lot of compliments and kudos. In fact, quite the opposite. You're always being told that you're not good enough to do certain whatever, So, I mean, through this career, I've been told, you're too short. You're not good looking. You're not what we want. You're not a very good actor. Just the list goes on, and they just not just destroy you. Um, and and it's funny, you've got to have a real thick skin to be in this because you have to love this. If anybody's doing this to become famous, it's going to be miserable for them because it's a job. It's no different than any other contracting job. If you're building a house, there's a group of people that lay the foundation. There's a group of people that put up the wooden structure. There's a group of people that put up the drywall, roofing, electrical, plumbing. So you have all these areas of specialty. Mine are acting and action acting, and I'm there to do a job, and hopefully I give them everything I have, and hopefully out of that you get repeat business. Hopefully they want you for something else in the future. So it's no different than that. You're really there to do a job, and I love doing this. I do. I love to act. I love to do action sequences. I love to choreograph them. I love the creativity of it. I love the fact that you're providing entertainment for people. I love the fact that it's there forever. So once you do it, it becomes just a part of recorded history, which is a wonderful thing. So it's yeah, buddy. It's really a wonderful but very very hard pursuit.
Right. And I'm not concerned. In my head thinking, has there ever been with you doing roles and going, I'm gonna pass on this movie, and then it's a mega hit, and you're like, oh, I totally should have done that movie. That would have really made a difference. Or are you the humble type person that says, it wasn't the right fit, the right time, and I'm okay that movie went and made, mega status and
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny you would say that because that's such a great question, and I I made the mistake. You learn from your mistakes, and it was a time where I had the great fortune of kind of picking and choosing different projects that I was more interested in. And this one project came up, and it's from a director that I had worked with before. And he goes, "Hey, I got a role for you. It's a sci-fi movie. We're gonna film it in Hollywood, out of a couple of the studios over there. Really excited about it. We're gonna film in some of the areas where they film Star Wars. We're gonna film and it all sounded great to me. I was like, yeah. But he goes, you know what? He goes, I'm not gonna be able to pay you a whole lot. It's unfortunately it's a very micro budget. We're definitely going to go ahead and compensate you, but it's just not going to be that much. So I said, maybe I'll pass. I'm going to pass on it. and, you know, And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing all these bigger actors are going to be in this movie, and that I would have been in these scenes with these bigger actors. And I'm thinking, what was I thinking? So it was funny because I happened to be in the area because I thought they were done filming. It was done. It was finished. It was wrapped. And I thought, poor me, here I am, stupid. I missed out on an opportunity. So I called the director and said, hey, I'm in town. Would you like to go and get together for lunch or whatever? And he goes, oh, I can't because I'm filming. I said, well, are you working on another project? He goes, no, the sci-fi movie. He goes, the one that you turned down. And I said, oh, okay. He goes, you know what? I can still use you. Come on in. So I came there and I did some work, in the movie. And hello, I did some work in the movie, and I met the actor that replaced me. And so we chatted. He's from Australia, really great guy, really good actor. Um, he goes, hey bloke, he goes, I heard this was your part. I said, yeah, I missed that. He goes, thank you. He goes, thank you for turning it down. But you know what? He deserved it more than I did. This is why. Because he lived a couple states down. And since it was a tight budget, he drove all the way over to Los Angeles. He was not put up in a hotel. He lived out of his van. So for almost one solid month, he lived out of his van. He parked at a 24-hour fitness. He showered, he worked out, he used the Wi-Fi, and he just basically lived out of his van during the production. And I told him, I said, man, you deserve this. You deserve this more than I do, because you're willing to do what you did to do it. And I said, I'm honored to be in the film with you, and I believe me, I've learned from this. So you gotta take your punches, you gotta take your bruises too, and you gotta lick your wounds, but hopefully something good comes out of it.
That's true. And also, I'm curious with you saying, you got to a point where you can pick and choose which projects you wanted. In the beginning, when you were, in that mindset of, I got to do this to get, this set so that I can get to this point,
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever been a movie that you did or TV show or commercial and you're like, God, if I wasn't in the role of having to make myself become visible to get here, I would never have done that?
There's always stuff. There always are. It's one of those things where it's you kind of sell your soul, in the very beginning, and that's why, you just, it's kind of funny in a way because a lot of actors are taught never to say no. Oh, can you scuba dive? Yeah, I'm a scuba diver. I'm licensed to be a teacher, and they've never scuba dived ever before. Do you know how to ride a horse? Of course. I got a ranch. And they've never ridden a horse ever before in their lives. So you just kind of never say no, and so it's funny because I was talking to a director, and he actually casted me for the role of Zorro, and that's in the hopefully in the near future. But he asked me, he goes, can you ride a horse? I said, I can learn. I said, I've never, but I can learn how to ride a horse. Well, have you done this? I can learn how to whip a whip too. So you just do your homework, and you eventually become that. And but yeah, you always do things where you kind of go, oh God, I don't want to do this. But I know if I don't do this, I'm not going to get that next opportunity. You always do. Yeah, I think most. My heart goes out to women that pursue this career, because it's hard on everybody. Bottom line, it's just hard on everybody, but it's most difficult for women because they're judged more harshly by far. They've got to be perfect. At least for a guy, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be absolutely 100%, great looking, handsome, because you could always play character roles. And you could be older, because how many people out there, Liam Neeson, Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, that they're mature men playing action heroes because they've had a career long enough to acquire all these skills that make them a dangerous person down the road. So that itself is its own genre product right there. And that gives people like myself an opportunity to excel in this industry. For women, no, you just don't see that, and it's tough for them.
That's true, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, and there's a lot more stereotyping to oh, we need this look or we need that look, and it's like once you get seen as that's you, then it's like everybody sees you in that light, and it's like,
yeah, you're right, and that's why I want to try to mix it up a little bit and play different characters, and it's, again, like I said, you really go through some harsh judgments, and I've been passed over many times because simply they just don't think that I would be a financial risk that they're willing to take. Because remember, it's a business,
right.
and they're trying to sell a product, and and they a lot of times they'll group me with other well-known actors so that we're all kind of together, clumped together. So if you don't know John Ozuna, but you might know this other actor, you might know this other actor. So let's pull these guys together. And what happens is you I'm definitely not going to fit the 6'3", Scandinavian, blonde hair, blue eyed, character. I just I don't care how great of an actor I am, or I might be. I'm like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
So, but they're also not willing to risk somebody that is not mainstream. A lot of people will look at me and they kind of go, "Oh, what is this guy? What is he? He looks like he could be this. He looks like he could be that." And my first, I'm from California, born and raised, but my first language is Spanish. So you would never, people would go, "Oh, wow, okay." Um, and I didn't learn English until I was like in the second or third grade. So my parents mainly, and my grandparents and whatnot, they all just spoke Spanish. So that was my first language. But again, they say, okay, he could be Italian, he could be French, he could be, he looks a little bit Indian, he looks, so hopefully that can give me a range of things that can be. But a lot of times they're not willing to risk putting a lead of somebody that's not as mainstream looking.
I agree, and I feel like you do, and I'm sitting here and I'm like remembering all the movies that you've been in, and I'm picturing a genre that you haven't touched into, and I'm curious why. And that's the, and I'm gonna say comic role, but for you, more of the Jackie Chan type comic role, because I could
Totally,
totally
yeah.
feel that.
And it's funny that you say that because, for me, in terms of typecasting, they'll almost always have me be if I am a lead, I'll be that person that was maybe an ex-cop whose wife gets killed, and then my whole purpose is revenge. I'm going to go after, the people that killed my wife. So, and it's action, and it's drama, and it's a lot of that. But but my personality is a lot more comedic because I'm always cracking a joke or making fun of this, making fun of that. So that's more of my personality. And then when you get serious and you're here like this, and looking around, and that's, for me, that's acting. So, because normally I'm just like big smile and jovial and wanting to enjoy the moment and stuff like that. So I would love to do a comedy. I would love it. I would love to do that. Just something just kind of just crazy.
Yeah, just break it up a little.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. That's why a lot of times, I'm all up for like them putting like a mask on me and stuff because you can. They don't see you. They're seeing the other character and what it looks like, and you're able to internally bring out you bring life into the character, and I'm all about that too. So that to me, that's a lot of fun.
It's funny you say wearing a mask because to me, I was like, when you said that, I totally pictured you in the next like Mission Impossible film.
Ah, thank you, buddy. I
They're
appreciate that.
always putting the masks on and
Yeah, yeah, I
portraying
appreciate
somebody else.
it. I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You got the skill set.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's my goodness. It's before the show, you and I are talking about energy, and that's it's the title of your show, and with everything that we do, it doesn't matter what we do, we always involve mind, body, and spirit in everything we do. With our mind, we conceptualize things, we fantasize, we dream, we try to use a engineering perspective of trying to how can we piece this together. Your body is what brings it to life. So these are your instruments to actually manifest it. But it's your soul, the inside spirit, the internal energy is that gives you the want. That's what that bridges the gap between those two. Is what pulls it together, and that's what makes you make these things possible. It's that internal energy, and sometimes for a lot of people, it's it goes high, it goes low, and sometimes we feel very defeated, like we can't do anything. Other times we're like on top of the world and we feel the best we can. And as a martial artist, you understand the concept of that, and you also understand how to control it and how to direct it and how to utilize it and how it could not only benefit you, but everybody, how it can benefit everybody around you, and that internal energy is so important.
I agree, and we actually have a question from the audience. Linda
That's
is
cool.
asking, do you have a favorite role in one of your movies?
It's wow. That's a really good question. Oh, you know what? Demon Fighter was an extremely challenging role for me dramatically. That required uh, my most acting abilities, internalizing my emotions, and being able to project those emotions. There's another movie I did called The Infinity Project, it was kind of a sci-fi movie where I'm kind of a bumbling FBI agent that doesn't know how to fight, and they do a brain transfer from a known skilled fighter into me, and all of a sudden I become a skilled fighter. That is the one that has the most balance between really dynamic fight scenes and acting. So there was a really good balance there between the two. Um, there's a movie I did called Cabal, which I played like a superhero. I was a costumed hero. I looked like oh my goodness, like Firefly out of GI Joe. So
Yeah.
my costume was almost identical to that, except it was all black. And you felt like we all want to be. We all want to be superheroes. When we're kids, we look up at that and we imprint ourselves in those moments. So you feel like you're a superhero, and your skills are harnessed, and you're able to fight for the good and things of that sort. So, it's a long answer to their question. Was it Linda that asked the question?
Yes.
Okay, Linda, thank you for asking that question. And I apologize for this long answer, but it sounds a little cliche to say, but there's like in every project, there's a little bit of the best acting that I enjoyed.
Yeah. She said she wanted to be Wonder Woman.
She probably already is.
Probably is. And I'm going to take and ask along those same lines of when obviously read the script, you're going to be filming, you're mentally preparing, but are you like most people where you step on set and you're like, all of a sudden the euphoria kicks in and you're like, ooh, this is real. This is actually happening, and have to take a moment and go, okay, I know I'm working, but oh my God, I can't believe I'm here doing this with these people.
Yeah, you're right. It's I always feel nervous and excited. Always. And I always know anything that makes anybody, any one of us, feel nervous, excited, where you're thrilled, but you're also terrified of what you're willing to pursue. Then when you feel that, you know that you're doing the right thing. And when you step on the big sets, and I had this, I got a call from my agent, and she goes, hey, I got this part for you. It's a real small part, just simple dialogue with one of the lead actors of this movie. Are you up for this? And I said, my goodness, yeah, sure, absolutely. You just don't want to turn things down. And I asked, okay, so what's the project name? Ice Cream. I said, excuse me? Is it Ice Cream? It's a movie called Ice Cream. She goes, yeah, yeah. It's kind of the name that they're using right now. It's not the actual name. It's the name they're using right now. I said, oh, okay, great. Let's go for the ice cream. I like ice cream. Um, so I show up on set, not realizing that this is a big, big project. I find out later on that it's Matrix 4 that we're filming, but it was so hush hush, and it was filmed. That part was filmed out of San Francisco, and my scene was with Keanu Reeves. We had a dialogue scene, him and I, in the movie, and unfortunately, that particular scene was cut from the final cut of the movie, but you're there, and you're in a scene, and it's just you and him. That's it. It's just me and Keanu Reeves, and we're setting up and we're running our lines, and we're going back and forth, and we're talking about it a little bit, and they film, and we do maybe about a half dozen takes of it, and then it hits you. Did that just happen? Did that really just happen? You just can't believe it, because in the moment you're professional. You're both actors, and you're both there to do a job, and you don't want to show that oh my goodness, I'm here with Keanu Reeves. You don't want to show that, but it's afterwards, once it's done. And this is what happened. Unbeknownst to anybody, the paparazzi was out there, and they were disguised as pedestrians. And this particular scene was happening outside, but they took some photographs. And it was the first day of filming of Matrix 4, day one, and nobody knew about it. And later on, it came all over social media and the news. Keanu Reeves filming in San Francisco on his latest film project, and they showed this picture of him and I, and it was him and I that was being shown everywhere. And I was done with the scene. We're done with the day, and then one of the other actors ran up to me, John, did you see this? Did you see this? And she showed me the picture. I said, whoa, like, wow. Did you take that picture? No. This is like everywhere right now. They're saying that Keanu Reeves is in town now, and he's filming here in town, and but you're right there, right next to it. I'm going, wow, are you serious? So those are one of those moments like, wow, did that really happen? It's just that it's so surreal moment that that you just dream about. You dream about those things, and it was actually kind of unfolding in front of me, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I love when you told me that story at FearFest, and I was like, that is just so awesome how they played it down and was like, if you had been the type of actor to go, no, I'm not doing ice cream or movies
Exactly
about
right.
ice cream, you would have totally missed being
Exactly.
on Matrix 4. And
Yeah.
so, like you're saying, you be careful what you turn down.
Yeah.
And it's like the synchronicity of you being in the place of going, yes, I will do that because,
Yeah.
earning my cred, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And ending up in this massive movie is
Yeah.
like super cool.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I mean, it's just that those are the times to say yes. You go, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Let's do this little film. Sure, why not? I got a little time on my hands. No,
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Now, let me ask you a question, buddy. So,
sure.
because you said your background was more theatrical, so you said from a very young age to I think a junior in high school,
Freshman in college.
a freshman, probably freshman in college, that you were doing theatrical work. That's impressive.
Yeah, I did on stage, behind the scenes. I kind of dabbed
Good.
in it all. And I was like, let's seriously give it thought. And then I was like, Then life kind of pulled its strings, and I ended up going into drafting and studying history, which
Oh,
both
nice.
are passions. And, I
Yeah.
enjoy it. And I don't ever regret stepping away. But I was talking with a friend of mine, Heidi Pop, who also does movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and I told her on an interview, yeah, having this theatrical background, I feel like helps me elevate myself as a podcaster
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because in moments where, there's quiet because everyone's kind of like going, okay, are we done? Are we done? I can jump in and like improv into a moment or take the conversation and flip it into another direction and like go if feel like we're going too far out, I can rein it back in
Yeah. Yeah.
and kind of mold the conversation a little bit without scripting it. And I feel like, yeah, that's because of my love of improv that I'm able to
Yeah.
wing it on a fly. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I just want to ask you: have you ever had a guest where they were just one or two word responses? Yeah, yeah, I did that. Or yeah, I did a little bit, but not too much.
I had one and I was
You're
like,
like, okay, elaborate.
I'd be like going, so how did that, so was that, like, what was that experience like? Oh, it was cool. Okay. So that led to this, huh? Yes. And I'm like, you are giving me such great material to work with. And I end up getting the hour done. And at the end of the show, I wrap it up. And after all my shows, I go and talk to my mom and
Uh,
kind of like ground and start grounding myself back, to normal space, so to speak. And
yeah.
I remember she goes, that guest was like, you were pulling teeth. I go, yes, it was. And now I say to people, and it's funny, being with you is I go, if there were Academy Awards for podcasting, I feel like that episode would have at least got me a nomination.
That's, I think so.
But yeah, I was like, man, it was so after shows, I tend to, my routine is talk with my mom, kind of
Yeah, yeah.
set for the day, watch some TV, maybe play a game, a video game, and then go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
After that episode, it was talking to my mom and right to sleep. I was like, I was so drained. I was like, God.
you had to carry the show. You had to carry it completely.
Yeah, I was like, man, and I know I say to everybody, yeah, we'd love to have you back on, but I was like, that moment, I was like, God, do I say this or and to be honest, I kind of felt a little bad for the guest because
Yeah.
it was one of their first podcast experiences, so I know they're
Exactly.
nervous. I'm like, I'm doing my best to like try and comfort and like put them at
But
ease. And
and you're really good about that. You make your guests feel very comfortable. Hey Linda, what is she asking?
oh, she's just commenting, "Gee, Michael, now one, no wonder we get along. I got a degree in theater all because I had a good time on stage in high school."
Yeah, it's you do. You really do an amazing job at making your guests feel comfortable and relaxed, and they can be themselves. And we talked about the theater. See, that was one of the most difficult transitions for me because a lot of my acting experience was on stage. And when you're playing your role on stage, everything is exaggerated. And you might have a scene that you're talking to somebody here, but this person might be here, but you're talking to the audience. You're out here like this, and everything is drastically exaggerated. Your body gestures, your voice is projected, and that doesn't work at all in films.
Oh.
it just doesn't. And so
And then,
I had to learn to just really tone it down. I had to really tone it down, and ultimately, it just really because any really good actor, they act with their eyes, and they do subtle things. So a lot of their when they project a feeling or a gesture or whatever, it's done with a little bit of body language, their eyes, and it almost doesn't even matter what they're saying because even no matter what comes out of here, something else is happening inside here, just like real life. You ask somebody, "Hey, you okay?" And they go, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay." And something's wrong. Something's wrong. So, but it's subtle and it's a lot more. It's reserved, and you're actually holding back instead of projecting. And that's what I was used to, just like being loud and being boisterous and being animated, and I felt like a cartoon character out there. I felt like Speedy Gonzalez. It's just
ándale.
exactly.
Arriba.
Arriba.
But another thing I remember from my days of stage, the hardest thing for me was the movements because in normal movement, you have 360,
Yeah.
rotation available.
Yeah.
Well, when you're on stage, you have 180.
Yes, you do.
270.
It's here or it's here. That's
they're
it.
like, never turn your back to the audience. And it's like,
mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's really hard when you're like facing someone, the door's behind you, and you're like, okay, my reaction is to turn to walk through the door, but I can't. I got to go this way because I can't put my back to the audience. And it's 100%. Like so awkward.
Yeah, 100%. Stage acting is the most unnatural thing to do. Real acting is, or television or film acting is, you're basically being as absolutely as authentic as anybody would be just in real life, how somebody would normally respond to just everyday things, and you do it in kind of a no nonsense way, and it comes out as being very real, and what's weird is when they say okay, action, and also you go you're like this, and you're ultra aware of your body and stuff like that, and I think one of the things that I have really appreciated you. I've always have been very thankful for being in projects where the actors were far more experienced and so much better than I was. Um, because you're constantly taking notes, and you learn so much from somebody that has, the decades of experience and the decades of education, and it all just kind of comes out when as soon as they say action. And when they're better, it brings out the best in you. And I remember I did a scene with a gentleman from Canada. Um, it's a movie called The Bouncer, which we filmed in Romania. But we did this amazing scene together, and maybe 2 words of that scene were actually scripted. The rest was completely improvised. Basically, he was saying, my character would say this, and I would say, when my character would respond this way. And I remember in the process of this interaction, we're trying to become friends here, and there's a little bit of a tension, you know, and then I come off as being cocky, and I challenge him a little bit, and I say, "Hey, you had a problem with that, did you?" And then you could see, and this is the actor, when I challenged him, and this is all improvised, you saw the surge of emotion that came through him, and then it just came out, in his acting, and it was just so beautiful to watch him perform. And I just learned so much from just working with individuals like that, and have been able to apply it myself. But I love those moments where it's not on the pages, but it's in the moment.
Yeah.
It's in the moment. I love that.
So we're actually approaching the hour. Do you have time to go a
No,
little deeper, or?
I'm devastated. See, that was stage acting. No, I can't believe it. So I'm sorry about that, Michael.
Oh no, that was
your
totally
ending.
cool. I was sitting there going, "Wait, what's happening right now?" So you got me back.
I see. I did it.
No, but Linda brings up a point about stage acting. I think has an impact on people that they don't realize, and it's the projecting. That it's not only voice but body language, because you got to reach the back of the audience.
Oh,
And you don't have a microphone, so your voice has to get as loud as you can, and then you don't realize in real life you got to soften your voice back down.
Yeah, no, you're right. Stage acting requires for you to project. And as an actor, you go through all these breathing exercises and stuff to create that. But Linda, I'm glad Linda's on the show because she's making some great points. It's when you talk to a group of individuals. Let's say you talk to a class. You want to really get to know your audience. You want to connect with your audience. You want to have this bridge that happens between you and them. But you have to project, because when you're trying to make a point, and Mike, when I'm talking to you, and when I'm trying to make a point, and you're not listening, I've got to go ahead and just project a little bit more. Do you understand? I mean, you have to kind of raise your voice a little bit, but not. You never scream. You inject a little bit of emotion, and people will say, "Whoa, he means business now." So thanks to Linda for bringing those up.
I've been told many times.
I didn't mean to yell at you. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, you're good. I didn't yell that, but I was like, I get told many times, bring your excitement level down. We're all in the same room. Exactly. I don't realize how loud it gets because of the acting. It's like it sounds the same to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Linda says lots of laughs. I can hear you. And she's got another question, and this is one that I'm curious for you as well, as because I know you have Katie with you. Do you and any of the actors with main parts ever have note takers on the set?
You know what? What we do have is we have script supervisors, and they're invaluable. So they make sure that we are on point. Specifically, if a director is really adamant to make sure that we don't exclude any word of that script, they want us to stay on point. So they're really good about that. Katie is a wonderful assistant. I've known her for my goodness, 20 years, and she's my martial arts student. She's also she helps me run the martial arts business as well. But she's my personal bodyguard. You met her, so
Yeah.
she's this little, really really beautiful blonde hair young lady. That's the sweetest thing in the world, but my goodness, you never want to mess with her because she's actually a world champion full contact fighter. So she protects me, and she'll make sure that things run smoothly, and and she really is invaluable. I mean, she helps me out tremendously, in the different events. But to your point, she's a note taker, so she takes all the notes. When we're talking with like yourself, like she took down your name, she took down all your information, so that way that way it was there for me. That way we don't have to interrupt our conversation, you and I. She can go ahead and just take the information down as we're talking. And I don't want to say I need an assistant wherever I go, but believe me, it makes life a whole lot easier, when you're interacting with people.
Right. And I like Linda's comment of, wow, if you know anyone who needs an assistant, let us know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and talking about Katie, I remember when I first was walking up that she would be like kind of to one side of you and then quietly, like almost like a ninja, she would be on the other side, like just in case it was like, what's going on? And I was like,
in case there was trouble.
and I noticed it, and I was like, I just played it down. And it was like, okay, yeah, she's, doing this or that. But I never in my mind thought, oh, bodyguard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just kind of say, hey, see the guy that's coming up to us? Yeah, just keep an eye on him. So, no, but you're the best.
No, so are you, and Katie is really cool too. And
thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
I the video that you sent me, the YouTube that had your little intro and everything.
Yeah,
I actually downloaded it, so if you wanted me to play it, I could play it.
Yeah, go ahead and do that if you want to do that. That'd be cool.
All right, well, let me get this up, and in the meantime, Linda is saying she was an extra on More American Graffiti.
Wow, then I want her autograph then. My goodness.
They had the best meals.
Big productions do. They do. Oh my goodness. The bigger the production, the better the food.
So, have you ever been on a site where you were going to start filming and everything, and you're like, oh, this isn't stuff I normally eat, and you're like, but I'm hungry, I gotta eat, and then you're like, hey, director, can we take a time out?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of times when I film, let's say out in the woods where just like your local market is probably somewhere 100 miles away from you, so there's just no way you can go to a store. I'll bring a lot of my food with me, and a lot depends on the physical appearance they want me to have. There might be a scene where I take my shirt off or whatever. So in that case, I've got to eat differently. I've got to make sure that I'm always trained working out, but I've got to get to the point where I can present myself in the best way possible, be as muscular as I can, be as cut up as I can. So you see me like literally sometimes for lunch I'll just eat 2 avocados, and that will be my lunch. It's crazy like that. So you just bring that stuff with you. But yeah, there's been some times where it's like you can only take so many McDonald's after a while. I mean, I love McDonald's every once in a while, but you can only take so much.
Yeah. So, so to set it up, is you called it the John Ozuna action demo reel.
Yeah, so this is my action reel. So I've got to update this one, but these are some of the things I do in terms of the martial arts part in films.
Yeah, and it's cool because I watched it, and it does good at showing, like you're saying, the versatility of your acting. So
thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
let's share it with everyone. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I'm like, I watched that and I'm like, I know from acting that things are not always as they appear, but like when he had you and slammed you on the back on that mat, I was like, how do you choreograph that so nobody gets hurt?
That hurts like hell. It just does. It's funny because they go, sometimes they go, okay, they're going to pick you up and just drop you in the ground. And you kind of go, okay, where's my crash mat? Because usually they'll put a mat down. And and sometimes they don't. So you just have to do the best you can.
Yeah, but I like in the video how it really kind of showcased, like you were saying, because in your mind, when you say, yeah, over 700 punches in a minute, you're like,
Yeah.
That's, sounds so impossible. But when you see you in the movie, and in those clips, how fast you're actually moving, you're like, I can see how that's possible, but it's still hard for the mind to wrap around.
I appreciate that. It's just the years of martial arts training. But, even now I get accused of just speeding up the film sequences. And quite the opposite. So a lot of times when I'm doing a sequence, they have to actually dial down their adjustments on the cameras so that they can capture everything. Otherwise, it'll look like a blur.
Yeah. Linda says, "Boyo, you are fast."
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, have you ever been on a show like you're saying, and they're like, "Hey, to save editing time, can we, you slow it down to half speed?" And you're like, "That was half speed." And like,
oh. Yeah. They'll say, okay, you're gonna have to slow that down, and I'm thinking, okay, slow, and I'll say slower than what I just did because that was pretty slow. They would say, "Go, really?" I said, "Okay, I'll try my best to slow it down and just do this or that or the other." But just and those are like little technical things, and they could always tweak it here and there.
Yeah, I'm curious too if, like, say, like Matrix 4, if you had a fight scene and they were like, slow it down, and you're like, this is take number 50. Would you be like, okay, I'm going to go in super slow-mo mode just to be like, is that slow enough for you?
Yeah, you do that. And I mean, that's the part, especially for stunt fighters or anybody that's in the stunt world, when you do take after take, you really want to just do one take, but that's an impossibility, because in any scene, it doesn't matter which scene it is, there is a required sequence of filming. One is widescreen, so you take the master shot, which is the widescreen, then you go mid range, and then you go tight. You go perspective. So it's a close up on each person. So you have to at least minimum do it 6 times the same thing minimum. But if they want to see it differently or better or whatever adjustment here, adjustment there, it's take after take after take after take after take, and you got to look fresh too. So you can't look like you've been working out. So hats off to all the makeup artists in the world, because they make you look fresh and make you look like you're ready to go. So hats off to them.
Yeah, makeup artists are amazing, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with your movies and everything, has there ever been times when you sit there and you're like, you know what, I've given it my all, I'm tired, and you're like, let's do a blooper reel just to
oh my goodness,
set the mood and refresh
yeah,
everybody?
yeah. You can't be completely serious on set. You don't want to waste time, because when you're on set, there's a day that's allocated for that location, for those actors, for that time of the day. So there's a lot of coordination that takes place for you to even be there. And what you don't want to do is waste people's time, and because it's money. But I mean, if the director's cool with it, because a lot of times the director will be the one that cracks a joke or something because he feels the tension in everybody, and we all get a good laugh out of it, and then we kind of get it out of our systems, and then we're ready to go back on again. So that's the sign of a good director, because he or she knows what to do, when to do it, to get what he wants out of it.
Right. And I'm curious too, if when you say, picking and choosing roles, what goes through your mind when you are looking at the scripts and going, all of these would be great, but I can't do all of these. So how do you decide which ones to and which ones to pass?
Yeah, that's a tough one. There's a lot of things to consider. When you're considering for whatever part, whatever role, and unfortunately, every actor has to think this way. They look at the role in terms of whether that role will offer them future opportunities. So if it's something that's going to be widely distributed, if it's something that's going to be impactful enough, if it's something that's going to be liked by people, will that offer future opportunities? And the other is pay. Just the negotiation of pay. And I'm a SAG actor, so they have to pay me a certain amount of money. But sometimes we'll negotiate a little bit less, a little bit more, and it kind of goes back and forth. But I love doing this, and it is a job, because you got to pay your bills and stuff. So you just want to try to get the best outcome possible for everybody, and you just want to go in there feeling like you were proud of the work that you did. And so that when it's done, things are wrapped, and you walk away and you move on to the next project, you feel good about what you did, and you can move on.
That's cool. And I'm glad you're in that spot, because I know that's a spot that's like the dream spot for every actor
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
to.
it is. And I know a lot of known actors that are, they were A-listers, now the maybe Bs, and they're still very well known, but they do everything. They hustle to try to get work moving along, because the last thing they want to do is try to get a part-time job and do this, or try to get a full-time job and do this, and so they're trying to do everything within their means to try to drum up business. So you're constantly going through the process of okay, that was great, had that job, it's done. Okay, what's next? And if there's no next, then you got to hustle. You really got to hustle.
Right. And Linda's got a good question. She says she wanted to get in when you're doing your breath control
Mm-hmm.
for martial arts and acting. Do you do Kundalini yoga?
Do I do? I'm sorry.
Kundalini yoga?
It's I do Tai Chi, so it's relative. It's diaphragm breathing. It's done from a certain posture. So anybody that's a yoga practitioner would understand. They have certain postures that they do, um, and it's just a way of just really slowly going through, motions, and concentrating on your breathing and centering your mind and centering yourself. And I do it every day. I do it every single day. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not one of those. I got to have my cup of Joe in the morning. This is my cup of coffee. It's my breathing exercises, my Tai Chi. When I get ready to do a scene, I either shadow box, I'm at the shadow box and do like boom, boom, or I'm breathing. I'm doing my breathing exercises. So, yeah, it's very relative to that.
I have a question that popped in my head, and I don't know if you've ever been asked this on interviews, but what was the moment that was like your aha moment of saying, I've made it in your acting career?
That I made it. Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
like you were like, say like you picked up and you saw your face on a cover of a movie in a store, and you're like, oh my god, that's me. I've
You know,
this is it. I've made it.
It's funny that you say that. A lot of the films are distributed internationally. I was in Asia, and I had done a reality show series, and they had a poster for the show, and I was in Asia, and a bus went by, and my face was on the bus. I was like, wait a minute, that's me. So, yeah, and I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea that was something that was. I was going, whoa, that okay, all right, they have me over there. From what I understand, like Germany uh, has been asking for a lot of the films that I do. A lot of the films I do are very popular in Germany, and so it's those little sparks like that. And I'm always surprised, quite frankly, when somebody says, "Hey, I saw this film, I saw that film, I saw this film," in that scene, in this scene. And I'm always so grateful when that happens. But it's I I don't think I can say right now, like, okay, I've made it. I just appreciate what I've done and what I have yet to do.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if that's what kind of keeps you more humble and grounded too. Is you're not at that point of saying, "Okay, I've made it, so I can let my guard down and just
Yeah,
be." That you're still focused and still wanting to do your best.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's essentially it. And it's. I think anybody that gets their head too wrapped around this particular field, it's a disservice. You're not you're not realizing the reality of the fact that you're just a person. Just a person trying to do well in an industry that's not easy to do. And the only thing that makes you different is that just a lot of people get a chance to watch you. They just see you a lot, and they make a judgment as to who you are based on the characters that you play. So I think people will be really surprised if we get chatting and they talk to me and then they kind of go, "Oh God, you're laughing about this, you're laughing about that. I thought you were more serious." So,
Yeah.
anyways, hey, buddy, I'm gonna have to get going. I apologize.
No worries, and tell your mother I said hello,
I
and I
would,
hope she gets
yeah,
to
just
feeling better.
exactly. For those that don't know, I'm actually here in the hospital in the conference room that's losing light right now, and and I'm here visiting my mom at the hospital. So, buddy, thank you so much. You have an awesome show. I love your show. I love the intro. You are an awesome person.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, and please tell Linda. Linda, thank you for everything you've been involved with and asked. That was great.
Yes, I truly appreciate that. And so thank you to everyone that's watching, commenting in the chat room. Thank you, John, for
You bet,
taking
guys.
time out of your day and coming on.
Yeah.
And if schedule allows, I'm sure we can have you back on again.
Thank you for saying that, because I was getting worried about you inviting me back or not.
Definitely. You're always welcome.
That's great. Hey, guys, you guys take care. Thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
one.
you. All right. So thank you to everyone. Have a blessed day, blessed evening, blessed afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And thank you to everyone for watching. And as John and I pointed out earlier, we would not be here right now doing our shows if it wasn't for all of you watching. So thank you for your support. And I truly am grateful and appreciative. And I speak for all the shows that I'm on when I say that. So thank you to everyone. Make it a blessed day. Fill each day with love and joy. And just embrace the day. And always know there's another day, so if things don't go exactly as planned, you can always do a redo on the next day, and hopefully it'll turn out even better. So thank you, everyone. And with that, I am going to send us out.